Somerset County, sitting here minding our own business, trying to make ends meet. All of a sudden we were catapulted to the front line of the media. A plane flying over us crashed into a field in Pennsylvania, as the media says over and over again. These guys, and they were just minding their own business, flying across the country. And the terrorists take hold of the plane and they vote. Who but Americans would sit down and vote? They vote to do something. And on that day, we here in Somerset County were entrusted with the preserving and, I believe, the telling of this very, very important story of the heroes of Flight 93. I'm the fifth generation of my family to run the bank here. We are deeply rooted into this community. I feel that a community bank, and I really emphasize the word community, I think a community bank that does its job correctly is taking the incremental risks necessary to make a community stronger. If you want the American Revolution interpreted, you go down east to Philadelphia and Valley Forge. You want to understand the Civil War, you're going to go to Gettysburg. You want to understand the War on Terror, Somerset County is where you come. We have been given this extraordinary responsibility of honoring their memory and preserving the understanding for future generations. You know, who living in a quiet small town expects to be called out to this catastrophic war scene?
We came in and we were treating it just like a commercial airline down, and then the state police came in and cordoned off. It was when the guys came in carrying machine guns, and they're flying them in helicopters and landing them in the fields all around us.
Digesting everything that went on was difficult, and I think it was over with until it finally really sunk in, because we were so busy during that time at realizing what had taken place, the scale and the magnitude of the event that impacted not only the nation but worldwide. Attention was focused on this area.
When you start to unravel the dynamics of what went on that airplane, in the back of that airplane, and at 9:57, in my opinion, was the first counterattack on terrorism. And it was done and completed by men, women, young and old, right here, culminating in United Airlines Flight 93, crashing into the earth here in Somerset County.
12 months later, we have a mine disaster. Two groups of miners are underground. They break through a wall and touch old mine works that have filled with water, and the water comes rushing in, and 9 miners are trapped.
It has been a day of ups and downs for the hundreds of people who've been involved in the rescue effort since the Q Creek mine was flooded around 9 o'clock Wednesday night.
The volunteers, the first responders, show up and they begin this amazing process of trying to rescue these 9 guys.
The driller up above had a hammer and went ting, ting, ting on the pipe, and within a few seconds after that, we heard ting, ting, ting coming from down below, and the whole site erupted. We knew that we were dealing with folks that were alive.
There it is, the applause, number 9.
9 for 9.
So after these types of dramas, growing up in a small town, southwest Pennsylvania, declining population, tough economics, the world comes to us. You know, what do we make of it? What do we do from there? Well, about 18 months later, the Pittsburgh Zoo, which is one of the finest zoos in America, acquires about 1,000 acres up here. And their deal is they're going to work to preserve semi-endangered species. And the first one they are working with are African elephants.
Somerset County was so special because the community really welcomed us with open arms. It's definitely been a community effort. The high school kids are building feeders for the elephants, and we go out to schools and we teach them about conservation. And you know, when it comes to conservation, you have to push. You know, conservation takes caring, and without that, you're not going to make a headway. So in a sense, you have to have a community effort.
The boys have done a great job creating this masterpiece, and it took a lot of time, a lot of effort. Things are very heavy, but the boys, it took like I think the whole football team to carry just one piece of this.
So here we are on top of the mountain, an area that many years has the highest snowfall of any place in Pennsylvania, and we're breeding elephants. Anything's possible. Anything is possible. The new millennium has proved that in Somerset County. A number of years later, the U.S. Navy named 3 ships for the 3 sites that happened on 9/11. The last to be christened was the Uss Somerset. Our bond with USS Somerset is really very special. At the site where the plane came down, there were 2 large drag lines. Drag lines are a unique, huge machine used in coal mining, and the drag lines were not appropriate to continue at the memorial. So these drag lines were melted down, and they're the keel of the USS Somerset. They are part of the boat. These dramatic events that occurred around us, I feel that they call on a community banker to the best of their ability to step up and take the leadership roles that the community requests them to do. On the first anniversary of 9/11, one of the key members of the families of Flight 93 from the stage talked about the events and the pain their families felt. And then at one point, he said, "We pray that your families never experience what our families have gone through. But if it should happen, pray that it happens in Somerset County, where the people will reach out with all of the compassion they can give, all of the strength they can lend to help you get through."